Hey, well, life, friends, and visitors and returning visitors. Hey, y'all, it's your well woman, Lashana of Lashana Leonard Moore Wellness. Eat well, think well, and live well. And this special episode is for my people, my sisters, the mature woman. Y'all, I had to laugh before I get started. I had to laugh because it was almost like when I decided to do this episode for nutrition, for the woman over 40, for the mature, fierce woman, it was like my body was saying, psst, sis, you need to put your glasses on. Like I was squinting and I'm like, we not finna do that. We not finna do that. So if you see me do this, it's because I'm just resisting the need to put my glasses on. So I'm actually getting ready to fix myself a branched chain amino acid drink, which is a great amino acid supplement powder for drinking before and during workouts, because it's going to cover some of the very things that we're going to talk about today, which is muscle. But this conversation overall, let me sit down because ladies, we need to have a talk. Y'all come on in. Sisters, we got to talk. We got to talk about how we are handling this maturing and this aging process. And we're going to talk about it from my all-time first line of defense, always first line of defense in life, which is nutrition. And I want to visit what you may be doing or what you may not be doing. I want to first give you kudos for each and every one of you who have taken your health seriously and who have adjusted to the reality that there are some things that need to change as we mature. Because it is true, we cannot continue to do the things that we did in our 20s and our 30s. And if there are some of you who are watching in your 30s that may be perimenopausal, or you've already began to see the significant changes in the body, we'll welcome you into our little group. We'll welcome y'all into our chat. It's all good. Come on in and get the information. But I do want to applaud those of you who have recognized that, listen, I see where I'm at. I'm adjusting with it. I'm cool with it. I accept it. And now I need to know what it is that I need to do. So we're going to have that conversation. And I want to talk to you really about the basics of nutrition for the mature woman. When I say mature woman, I am specifically talking about those of us who are 40 plus. We're going to talk about what kind of changes you need to make as you are aging. So I'm going to put us under the microscope real quick. Why is this important? You see the changes, first of all. You know. I'm looking at you with my eye. You know the changes that need to be made that let me say this. You know that there are some changes. You feel changes. Well, there are many reasons why we have to be a lot more microscopic and a lot more careful and caring, nurturing with our bodies and with our nutrition as we age. Number one, our hormones. Your hormones are fluctuating. Some of them, such as your estrogen, is decreasing. Your testosterone as well may be decreasing. That is actually a hormone that we could tweak to increase a little bit. Your progesterone, your estradiol, all of your hormones are decreasing as we get older. Your thyroid gland, which is a major part of your overall body's function. Some people who take that for granted or who don't really consider seriously that thyroid gland, and you may have gotten your thyroid panel done. Some of it says some of your results say normal. Some of them say talk about your TSH, T3, T4. We can talk about that at another time. But your thyroid gland, it is important that it is normal and regulating naturally. Also, your reproductive health. This is another reason why we look at nutrition. Whether you are having children or not having children, you're not going to have children, or you've already had your children, or you've had a partial hysterectomy, or you've had a full hysterectomy. You've had several surgeries as it relates to your reproductive system. your reproductive health is still important, and it is still something that we need to look at as we mature, as we get older. And then for those of you who may have been diagnosed with something, you're living with a disease, you're on medications of some kind, your nutrition is very, very key. If you had surgeries of any kind and you've had to go through a rehabbing, or really kind of like a metamorphosis in how you even respond to life and how you do things in life, this is important for you too. Nutrition matters for us because it's not just enough to push back to swallow supplements or to get a load of supplements. Or supplementation can be great, it can be needed, but it's not the first line of defense for us. Nutrition really is the first line of defense. You've got to understand, and you've got to learn to understand how to feed your body and how to understand your relationship with food during this elevated chapter of life, during this maturing chapter of life. Another reason, this is a reality that hit hard, and that is our body converts our food as energy. Our body, aka metabolism, converts changes the rate of speed that it converts in food to energy. So our bodies are not converting our food as an energy source at the rate that it did when we were 20. And I know we can share stories about how it used to be. In general, many of us can share stories. What I used to do in my 20s to lose that quick 5 pounds, body is not having it anymore. It's a lot harder. And then, like I said about the disease or medications or diagnosis, if you're dealing with diabetes, if you're insulin resistant, PCOS, so many things are going to affect the metabolism and how your body is going to convert your food. Here's another reason. We begin to lose a half a pound of muscle, ladies, per year by the time we hit 40. And for some of you, you are losing muscle at a faster rate than that, and you're losing more than half a pound of muscle because of the state of lifestyle. For whatever extenuating circumstances there may be for you. If there aren't extenuating circumstances and you're just not moving, you're not being mobile or active like you should be, sisters, you are losing muscle. And muscle is important, not from a bodybuilding, sculpting perspective, but from a sustaining, a strength, and a flexibility perspective. And you can tell when you look at your body. I'm looking at you again. When you look at your body, you can tell where there has been some muscle loss under the arms, your thighs, your glutes, added fat where muscle used to be, in the abdominal area. All of those different places of the body. When we look, we can tell when we've lost muscle. So I want to go through the macronutrients. I made some notes for us today. I want to go through some very important things for you to take notes. Replay this as many times as possible. Make sure that you have subscribed as well. I've got to insert that. Subscribe to this channel. There is a lot of wholeness and wellness that happens on the Well Life TV. And then don't just stop there, but share it with somebody else. Many of you prefer to watch things versus listening to them, like the audio podcast. So if that is you, make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe to this channel so that you can receive via email the updates when videos are uploaded. So we want to talk about the basic macronutrients. Macro meaning these are the most important nutrients that the body requires for healthy function. It doesn't make the micronutrients less important, but these are the ones, as we continue to mature in life, that you want to make sure that you are receiving. You've got 3 of them. You've got protein, carbs, and healthy fats. Protein, carbs, and healthy fats. Protein is the key to our muscle sustainability and our muscle growth. It is important, regardless of whatever eating style you have, Okay, we'll go into those in a different episode. The intermittent fasting, the keto, the vegan, the vegetarian. We'll go through that in a separate episode. But regardless of your eating style, your protein is going to matter because your protein is linked to your muscle. Now, the portion of protein consumption may change as we mature. For example, if you have a kidney disease, you cannot consume as much protein as you once did, and you have to really monitor the portion and the frequency of protein, particularly animal protein, that you consume. But there are so many ways around that. Secondly, carbs. As we mature in life, you need to make sure that you're focusing on more grains and less starch. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. I know your mashed potatoes, your macaroni and cheese, your what else? Your corn, which is kind of like an empty calorie. All these other, your baked potatoes. I hear you. What else? What else do you like? Okay, you got to modify those. You're going to have to reduce those significantly now, sisters, and consider more grains than carbs, because remember, the body has changed the rate of which it converts your food to energy. And if you want to use your body less as a storage, then you're going to have to consider your carb intake. Fats, we want to convert from bad fats to healthy fats, like the oils that you cook with. If you were raised like me, you would watch the women use the Crisco and save it and all of those. And then I know that you say, well, that's like some of the best oil for baking. We'll have a talk about that, because sometimes it's just a matter of being willing to explore other alternatives. So you want to make sure that you're consuming healthy fats, healthy oils, your avocado, mixed nuts. All of those are examples of healthy fats. And you don't necessarily need the same amount of all of these macronutrients in a day. Each one does not require the same amount. So let's continue talking. Those are the 3 macronutrients. Some of the other areas that we need to consider when we are talking about our nutrition, matured women, is the dairy content. So my strong suggestion, you need to come through, babe? Come on. My strong suggestion is that you consider shifting to alternative dairy of all kind. And the blessing is that we have so many ways to do that now. What we have learned in the period of really 20 years, but I would probably say the last 8 to 10 years, it's become more public consumer information, or even consumed more from the general public, is that we've learned that a cow's milk is nutritious for the baby cows, but it is that same milk. The enzymes in the milk are toxic to us. So when you think about how fragile and how complex and integrated a woman's body is, you can see how the dairy hormones would be a lot less effective for us. And if you're 40 plus, you already know that we used to see those commercials about milk and how milk did a body good. Well, now in medical research and in holistic nutrition, what we know is that not even half of our body's need for calcium is coming from that milk source. So I want to strongly encourage you, I want to strongly encourage you to consider moving to dairy options. Hormones is the primary reason. Vegetables, here's our next one. Vegetables is not a macronutrient, but it is a very, very important source. Load up on your vegetables. Think about the colors of the rainbow when it comes to vegetables. Here's something else I also want to bring to our attention as Westerners. We only consume 10% of the vegetable rainbow. We eat the same type of vegetables typically over and over again. And I want to challenge you to step outside of that. Go to the cultural markets, go to the food markets. Consider looking and browsing at other vegetables that you may not have considered. They are loaded with so many nutrients and phytonutrients that we need and minerals that we need for our bodies. You've got to think about your food as medicine. We are treating, and in the natural approach to the body, it is always about targeting the issue, targeting the whole body, caring for the whole being, holistic, and being whole, WHOLE, right? So it's a mind renewal thing too. It's not just textbook. It's not just about, and I know you're fighting against a lot. You're fighting against commercials. You're fighting against cravings. You're fighting on weaning yourself off of certain things. You're fighting with how your husband may eat versus how you need to eat, or how stubborn your kids are with certain things versus what you know they need. You are up against a lot of things, but when approached smartly, not hard, but when approached smartly, we can begin to make those adjustments and those changes. All right, let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So let's talk about calories real quick. Where do calories fall in our lives, in these mature bodies of ours? Less calories, more nutrients. I'm not going to spend time talking about counting calories, because the protocol and the outline of how we approach nutrition changes drastically, okay? If you were in an extreme sport, or if you got an extreme weight loss goal, or if you're preparing for some type of fitness competition of some kind, I'm going to say yes, you're going to be a lot more intentional about the kind of calories, because they're not all equal, the kind of calories that you count. But in general, in essence, as a woman, a seasoned, a mature woman who wants to take her health seriously through the way that she eats, it's less about the calories and more about the nutrition, the nutrients in your calories. Do we need to burn more calories than we take in? Yes, we do. Just for maintenance, making sure that calories are calories that burn and not store as fat. So that means looking at your sugar content, sugars that you're aware of and sugars that you may not be aware of, because you've got to read the labels on those products, on those goods. We will tackle that one in a separate episode, because I don't want to inundate you with too much information or too many sidebars. I want to keep this general and keep the main thing the main thing. No more than 12 grams of sugar. And you can look at a product and you can read that. No more than 12 grams of sugar per serving. Less than 10% of your fats should come from saturated fats. What are saturated fats? Those are your red meats. Those are going to be all of your fatty dairies. There's a lot of dairy that contains fat, which is why you start to see all of the different options now that are out there. No more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, and then maybe even less than that for those of you who are tackling issues and tackling diabetes and tackling high blood pressure. And then, ladies, we've got to reduce our alcoholic intake. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Typically 3 ounces and no more than 1 glass a day in general. Now, I hear you, because you've been reading, you've been having talks with your sis, with your girls. Red wine is healthier for the heart. I get that. But also, a lot of these wines that we drink, and I'm not even finna talk about those of you who like the sugar stuff, like the margaritas and all the fancy, pretty looking drinks. We're not even gonna get on the sugar load of that. Most of the alcohols and the wines that we're drinking have a lot of sulfites and pesticides added in them, which is what? Not so good on the hormones. So if you are going to drink, this is my suggestion, baby. This is LLM Wellness. This is why you're watching me. I am going to strongly suggest that you, and I have some, I can show it. I'm going to strongly suggest that you convert to an organic wine. And it's going to tell you it's organic. It's going to tell you that there are no added sulfites. The processing of wine is real tricky. I don't want to take a rabbit trail here, but I do want to say this real quick because I know that a lot of women love alcohol just as much as men do, especially during these times, which currently we up in these pandemics. The processing of wine that is on the shelf, I don't care whether it's a specialized store like Specs or whether you get it in HEB. A lot of those wines are not as premium as they claim to be or as they appear to be. Pretty bottles and all. And I love pretty bottles and jars and stuff. But you have to be very, very careful. We're talking about your health. We're talking about aging as healthy and maturing as healthy as we can without feeling like everything is being stripped away from us, right? Without feeling like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh, my body want to feel like this today. Oh, my body is saying this. It's taking me a little time to warm up this engine. So that's why it is necessary to be smart in how we approach what we do. So consider that. I am going to move on. So what else do I want to talk about real quick with you? Make sure that you leave your comments for me in the comment section. I'm going to end with water. Water. Your body is 60% water. Our bodies, by the time we are in our mature seasons of life, we have tricked our bodies into a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know how early in life you started with different habits, eating habits. But think about it. As early as you started tricking the body, manipulating the body, taking on all of these different trends, by the time you hit 40, you've taught your body some very bad habits, some very tricky habits. And because of that, your body has also learned how to trick you into not knowing that it's dehydrated. So you don't track or have an awareness all the time of being dehydrated, especially in a culture where the detox drinks and juices are such a phenomenon. Okay? Your water is still primary. Now, if you've got to infuse it, I do this for my husband. If you've got to infuse your water so that you can have, and we're almost out, so that you can have some flavor, do that. Okay? But the main source is water. Many times you're experiencing things because you're dehydrated and you don't even know it. Our bodies need water for so many reasons, for our movement and our flexibility, for brain function, to reduce headache triggers, to support healthy bones, to support healthy bowels, to support your gut, to help your meds assimilate easy, to flush your kidneys. You need water. You are losing water. Some medications that you may be on are diuretic. Some of these trends that you may be on, that's pill induced, may have a diuretic. Water pills that some of you may be playing around with, please be very careful. There is not really scientific proof to back the 8 glasses of water a day. So as many of you have already started by getting jars and containers of certain sizes to monitor your water intake, making sure that you're getting enough water, continue to do that. I would say this: drink water throughout the day. Always have water with you. And from a psychological level, as I close out, look at the bottles and see how much you're really finishing. Do you have like 5 bottles and all of them are half drank? Pay attention to things like that. Pay attention to if you're not just starting your water, but if your bottle of water, but if you're actually finishing your water. All right. I hope that this has been a help to you. We'll be back for more because we need more, right? Be sure to subscribe. Leave your comments in the comments section of whatever question you may have or whatever note or comment you may want to give me. And I will be back for more. Remember, always eat well. We do that, mind, body, soul, and spirit. Think well and live well. Bye.